So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between trusting your intuition and operating from a consciousness of ego. So how do we distinguish when we are in alignment with our true, authentic selves and when we are viewing all things, all situations through the lens of the divine intuition? First of all, you'll feel a distinct peace when you're seeing all things through this lens. So it's going to be a gentle, pervasive, kind of warm feeling that will just calm you. When you are perceiving things through the lens of the ego, you're going to have basically you're going to feel distortion within your own vibration, because again, understand that the ego is here to teach us through the mechanism of distortion. So that it's something that we have to understand. It's a tool. It's not that we are specifically supposed to completely rid ourselves of ego. We're supposed to understand it for what it is. It's a learning tool that consciousness has given to a piece of itself so that it can understand itself more deeply. So again, when we're seeing the world, others, situations, things that we are experiencing through the mechanism or the mind of the ego, we're going to feel often very unsettled, irritated. You can feel chaos, anxiety, sometimes depression, sadness, anything that essentially is not an ideal state will be presented or will come up based on the ego. So it's a really good way to maneuver around your consciousness to start identifying what the ego is, and then again applying another layer of, okay, I'm understanding that I'm thinking from the lens of ego. So then what can I learn from this particular spectrum of understanding? Because when we think of a lens, it's just a spectrum of knowledge, of wisdom, of intelligence. So in and of itself, when we're utilizing the ego, it can help us really understand contrast. And from, again, the mechanism of contrast, we become very deeply wise from within. And it's because that the ego or the situation that the ego is trying to siphon out particularities from becomes a catalyst for growth. And that's why, again, in our universe that is set up in a dualistic system, it's so eloquently designed for us to learn, for consciousness to learn through the mechanism of duality. And duality just being the separation of two parts. Now, obviously, there's also within duality separation and multiplication, because if we look throughout nature, if we look throughout the universe, the cosmos, everything is a fractal. So it's a multiplication of itself or a contraction of itself when it's in its contractive stage, or an expansion when it's in an expansive stage. But again, everything is about learning. So back to operating from this conscious level of intuition. When you start aligning yourself with your core home frequency, you'll start to see synchronicities, signs, and you'll start to communicate in an energetic form. Some may call that telepathy. So you'll start to understand and experience the thought forms of others. You can even, through techniques with remote viewing, actually see the experiences of others, and it allows you a window into their truth. Now, from the standpoint of a teacher, having that window of truth into another's path is not whereby you can judge them. It should be, you should look at it based on how you can possibly help them.